So in this video, we're going to cover 5 useful facts that will be interesting for you to know in the start of your health journey when it comes to nutrition. It's always nice to have a reminder of things I already know because sometimes you can forget. The first one is a really simple one, and if it's your first time looking at calorie information on labels or online, it's important to remember when we refer to calories, we're actually talking about kilocalories. It's just become more common to say calories for short, but if you're looking at a label, say on something a lot of people have in their fridge, something like a carton of milk, and you look at the calories, well, it's going to give you 50k calories, 50,000 calories. But when we say calories, we're actually referring to kilocalories on the label. The other thing that's really useful to know when we start thinking about nutrition is to understand what our calorie intake should be. We can get a rough estimate of this, and you can do this using any range of metabolic calculators. I'm going to link one here in the notes, and you can go and check that out simply by putting your height, your weight, and some other information in, including your age. You'll be able to come up with a calorie estimate for what your daily maintenance needs might be. And this will be dependent on how active you are, which the calorie calculator takes into account. So go and check that out, as it's a useful indicator to have. Remember, it's an indicator and it's not giving you a precise number, because calorie counting and calculating your energy needs is not an exact and precise science. But the best measures of it can be how you're generally feeling, whether you're getting enough calories to feel good and still carry out your daily activities. And the other one can just be monitoring your weight. Whether you're losing or gaining weight will often come down to how many calories you're consuming versus how many you're actually using. The other useful bit of information to think about is not just calories. At the end of the day, calories are made up of macronutrients. So you've got proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. They're all good for us, and we need these in our diets for different and specific needs. It can be useful to know that both carbohydrates and protein provide the same energy or calories per gram. 1 gram of a protein or 1 gram of carbohydrates will provide 4 calories, whereas fat, 1 gram of fat is going to provide 9 calories. You may have realized that means if you had the same weight of fat, protein, and carbohydrates in front of you, fat is going to be providing the most calories. It's the most calorie dense, and this can be something that might influence the way you go about eating. It's important to remember that they're all useful in our diet. The most common things we may think of are protein for protein synthesis. We need fats in our diet for energy, but on top of that, for the transportation of fat-soluble vitamins, such as vitamin D, that would not be transported around the body without the presence of fats. We also need them for things like hormone synthesis. Carbohydrates are a preferential energy source for our body that it can use and get access to quickly. Our brain also likes it too. Learning more about these 3 macronutrients goes more into the specifics of nutrition, which I'll cover in other videos, and you can find more information online about too. With that information, you can also do a little bit of a check if you felt like it. You can recalculate the calorie numbers on the food labels you see simply by taking the fat content and multiplying it by 9, taking the carbohydrate content, multiplying it by 4, and taking the protein content, multiplying that by 4 too. Adding up all that information will give you the total calorie content. Sometimes you may also need to add fiber, and with fiber you want to multiply the fiber number by 2 and also add that in as part of the total. Having this understanding can be really useful. I want to use eggs, which many of us eat quite commonly, as an example. Most of us think of eggs as a good source of protein for our diet, which it is. If we look at a medium-sized egg, which is about 55 grams plus or minus 5 grams, we can look to get about 7 grams of protein from that one egg. A large egg, roughly 65 grams plus or minus 5 grams, depending on the egg you have, would deliver around 8 to 9 grams of protein. The thing we sometimes forget is that eggs aren't the leanest source of protein compared to something like a chicken breast. That's because the egg yolk not only contains protein, but some useful fats and vitamins. It's important to remember we shouldn't be demonizing fats. We need them in our diet, not only for our energy needs, but also for the transportation of vitamins around our body. They also help with hormone synthesis and a whole bunch of other things. However, it can be useful to know this information when making wider decisions around our daily nutritional and calorie needs.